Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to another very exciting Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants broadcast. If you're joining us for the first time today, like so many of you are, we are all about bringing conservation, adventure, and science into classrooms around the world. And you're catching us in a very special day because we are joined by one of my very favorite conservationists that we feature in the entire world of conservation. But first, a little story. A few months back, I had the chance to talk to the amazing folks at the Disney Conservation Fund to highlight some of the incredible people that they have helped support over the years. Now, we've been doing a bevy of incredible programs with them over the last few weeks alone. Jared Daniels came on to talk about monarch butterflies just yesterday. Grace Gorillas came on and Lori Cummins. So all of those programs are on our YouTube channel, and we've got a bevy more coming up in the next few weeks. But they said, hey, we've got to put you in touch with Rosamira from Proyecto Tití. I said, I know Rosamira. I don't need you to put me in touch. We've done a bevy of broadcasts with her and her amazing work protecting cotton-top tamarins in one of the most special places in the world in Colombia's forest. So today, I'm so excited to welcome her back to share a little bit about her incredible story, uniting a community to save one of the most charismatic monkeys on planet Earth. So Rosamira, thank you so much for joining us again, and welcome back to the broadcast.
Hey, Jesse, so good to be here again. Hello, everybody, wherever you are. It's such a pleasure for me to be back on your screen and to continue sharing updates and stories. Not only one of the most charismatic, but the cutest monkey in the world, Jesse. That's the title.
You know what? We keep talking about it, but I think we're going to have to bring up your presentation and show people this incredible monkey. Yes. So if you want to dive us in, we can meet our cotton-top tamarin and go from there. That would be fantastic.
All right, let's go for it. All right, guys, let me just share my screen real quick here and get in. Okay. How about now? Jesse, all good with the presentation?
Couldn't be better. Looks beautiful. Let's do it.
Amazing. All right. So everybody, welcome to learning more about the cutest monkey in the world, the cotton-top tamarin. You're looking at one of the families that we study in the field, and they live in this amazing forest. You may see them like really big in this image on your screen, but actually they are just 1 pound, about the size of a squirrel, little monkeys. Yeah, they could fit in the palm of your hand. And they are called cotton-top tamarins, obviously, because they have a beautiful shock of white hair in their heads. They look like little rock stars of the forest. Here's one having a little yucky insect as part of their diet. But even though they're very little, they are very similar to us humans. For once, they live in family groups just like we do. So mom, dad, and the babies, right? And the babies grow. And when they grow and they become teenagers or juveniles, they leave home just like we do, right? Yeah, we go find a nice partner for life and make our own families, just like humans do. So they're very similar, monkeys after all, right? And also, they are very territorial. That means that they settle in a plot of the forest where they live, and they defend that to death. They are very protective of their territory and their families, just like we do with our homes, right? They also have a very sophisticated communication system. Is their own Titi talk, basically, because they kind of communicate with each other through chirps. And then, and one of the things that is very important is what they eat. You can see this guy here enjoying this fruit that grows in the forest. And you see that he swallows the whole thing, right? So that's the main part of their diet. They eat mostly fruits that grow in the forest seasonally, right? But then they eat a lot during the day. And then when they poop all those fruits, the seeds that are within the fruits come out in their poop, and they come out ready to germinate. And you see these little trees growing in the forest on their own. That is part of what cotton tops do in their forest. So they're very important little animals that take a lot from the forest, but also give back to the forest. And so I wanted to highlight that because that's very important. One of the reasons why they need to stay in their forest with their families, with their territories, so that the forest remains healthy. And the one thing that is very unique about this little monkey is the fact that within our huge, beautiful planet Earth, they are only found in that little red dot that you see on the screen. And that little red dot is the country of Colombia in South America, where I was born and raised, where I'm from, and where I work to protect the monkeys. Not even in the whole country. You see the little map of Colombia on the top, on the left bottom, and that black little spot within the north region of Colombia is the only place on earth you will see cotton-top tamarins in the wild. So they're very unique. They're 100% Colombian, like I am. And of course, it's our responsibility to protect this jewel of the forest. But unfortunately, like many other wildlife species in the world, they're facing a lot of challenges. And one of them is their forest is disappearing because humans are increasing. Sorry about that. Humans are increasing cattle ranching, agriculture activities, and they have to cut down or burn the forest to bring in their crops or bring in their cows. That is reducing a lot. It's like in your home, you start taking out one room, the kitchen, and then you start reducing the amount of forest that they have available to leave. And also, people sometimes are forced to cut the large trees, which are actually the ones they use for sleeping overnight. And they do this because, sometimes there's a lot of poverty still in rural areas in Colombia, and they need an income to feed their families. So they cut the trees, they sell the wood, and, that doesn't help the cotton tops or even us either. And one more sad thing is that cotton tops are so beautiful. They have this, their beautiful head and so cute and charismatic that unfortunately they get hunted for the pet trade. And that is actually one of the main threats. And when they're hunted, it's also a result of people sometimes desperate to get an income and to feed their kids and their families. So it is a lot of social problems associated with all the threats that cotton tops are facing. But that's why we created Proyecto Tití, is the organization that I lead with a lot of other passionate and dedicated Colombians and many, many friends and donors around the world helping us protect this little species. Look at those cute little guys on the back of the daddy. And how can you not do something about it to protect this little species? So I'm just going to tell you how we do this, how we are protecting cotton-top tamarins. And one part is very important, is science. So we have developed a method to track the monkeys in the forest. Remember, they're little monkeys, so it's not very easy to see them. So what we do is we put a little transmitter. Can you see that backpack on this little guy? That's the daddy of the family group. He's carrying that little backpack, and that's a transmitter. That transmitter sends a VHF signal, and our team comes into the forest every day with this antenna, and they kind of track the monkeys and they find them. It is not easy. When you look up in the forest, you're looking for a 1-pound monkey that hangs out up there on top of the trees. Not easy to see them. So there they are. But that is why we use this technology. So it helps us find the animals. And once we find them, we enjoy just observing them to understand how they live. Look at that. Look at that peaceful grooming activity in family, hanging out together. There is a baby in the back of one of these guys there. But they are able to enjoy family time while we observe what they eat, how they behave, what they do, how often the babies are born, what are they eating, if they're fighting, if they're talking, if they're, what are they doing? And you can see this guy that is kind of looking around. He is basically the surveillance, in charge of surveillance. So there's always one cotton top in the family that is kind of watching out for any predators. For instance, a boa snake or a raptor bird that would love to have a cotton top for lunch. And he's always trying to take care of their family and make sure that they stay safe. But we get to come in, study the animals, and understand what they need to survive in the long term. And that's how we design our programs, so that we can do that, protect cotton top and save them from extinction. And that's how we do science. There's a lot of information we have learned over the years. We have learned to count the monkeys and know how many there are. and how threatened they are. And that's how, through science, we learn, and then we use that information to create strategies and projects that can protect cotton tops. One of those projects is the forest, of course, is the main challenge that cotton tops are facing. So we're doing a lot of efforts to protect the little pieces of forest that are still available in northern Colombia. But there are areas that have been cut down, have been burned, and we need to plant trees in these areas so that we can bring back the forest and make sure that it is there available for the monkeys. So how do we do this? You would think it's an easy thing. Oh, just bring some trees and plant them. But no, there's a lot of science behind that. And it is because we need to know what types of trees, where to get the seeds, and all of that. So the next video that I'm showing you is how we do this. It's a lot of work. It's not as easy as it looks, but it is fun and it is showing results. So our team goes there and collects the seeds from the large trees that exist already in our forest reserve, right? Sometimes the seeds have to be peeled. They have to be prepared. Some of them need to be put in water. Some of them need to be sanded. And then when they're ready, we plant them in germination beds. And then, we know how many, and then we label them with the date so we know when we planted them. And then, while they're growing, germinating, we fill up some little nursery bags with enriched soil, so soil with a lot of nutrients, natural nutrients. And when those little seedlings come out, we take them into those little nursery bags and plant them there so that they have more room to grow. And then through the following months, which it takes about 8 to 12 months, like about a year, we give them a lot of love, and then we prune them, we water them, we help them, and again, with a lot of love. And we wait until they grow, and when they're ready, then, our team goes in and marks them, puts a little flagging tape with colors so that we can identify them. And we put tags with numbers, and depending on the species and on the number of animals, so that we can later identify and measure their growth. And then, we hire a lot of local people to bring all those trees with the little burros to the areas where we're going to plant those trees that used to be cattle ranches and agricultural fields. We use burros because some of these areas are very hard to access with anything but burro or by feet. So little burros that are used in Colombia for agricultural activities help us bring these saplings into the areas. We dig the holes, put some hydro retainer during the dry season, and then we think that planting the tree, that's it, that's the end of it. But that's actually the beginning of it, because once we plant the trees, we have to monitor that. So we come back to that tree, find it with the tag and with the flagging, and measure how big it has grown, if it's made it, if it died, and why did it die. Then we measure the growth, and that's how we monitor that the forest is actually growing. It is a lot of work, but what we want to see is cotton tops moving free in large forests that are connected with each other, and that they can find food, they can find territory, they can find a good tree to sleep overnight with their families, and they can be healthy and happy in the forest. And all of this, what we have learned, it's been many years of sitting down in a little stool in the forest, watching the monkeys and learning about them. And, cotton tops are our main species, our focus species, our favorite species. But when we do this forest protection, we're doing it for many other animals that share this beautiful forest in Colombia with the cotton tops. All different mammals and birds and reptiles and many amazing species. And Colombia is one of the most biodiverse countries in the world. So we do have a lot of amazing animals, and we're saving them all when we're planting and caring for the forest. But not only for the animals, we're also doing this for ourselves. Guys, how important water is for us. And forests help us save water and have it available for when we need it. Just think about a full day, how many times you use water, you drink it, you use it for your meals, you take a nice shower after doing sports or after playing with your friends. And forest, having healthy forest close to our homes is very good for our health and for having clean air that we can breathe. And we all need to be healthy and want to stay healthy. So we need healthy forests for healthy monkeys and healthy people. That's why our program not only focuses on the forest and the monkeys, but also on the people. We want communities to be able to live healthy and in harmony with nature. And for that, there's a lot of work we need to do. And remember when I told you that some people in the local communities have to hunt cotton tops to make an income, or they have to cut a tree to get an income? Well, we try to give them alternatives. And one of those alternatives that we have created is these beautiful tote bags. And guess what they're made of? Probably you cannot get to see it from here, but check it out. They're made out of recycled plastic bags. Those plastic bags that litter the environment and the creeks and the lakes and the forest, where we're collecting them through the community work and using them to draft beautiful artwork made by these ladies that live in these little communities by the forest. And they can do this while they take care of their families at home, and they can crochet and they can kind of share with each other and come up with beautiful artwork, artisanry that we sell in the stores or that we sell on our website. And then that way, that income goes to them and they can provide for their families, and their families don't have to go out and cut trees and hunt monkeys. That's one of our programs. Now, we have another very cool program, which is the plush cotton tops. And this is very important. These are handmade also by the local communities in many different shapes, forms, and sizes. And we do this because if somebody wants to have a cotton top, hey, here's a plush. You can buy this plush, help these beautiful, smiling women and their families, and keep a plush toy to support our work instead of buying a cotton top tamarin to keep at home and make his life miserable. So that's another of our programs. It generates an income. People buying these products are helping to protect cotton tops because they're helping people in Colombia that don't need to go out and cut the trees and hunt the animals. We're also working with the community to offer tours to the forest. So you can get to see cotton tops in the wild, like all of us at Proyecto Tití have been so lucky to be able to see these animals and many other animals in the wild. So you come to Colombia to visit, and you get to see the animals. Remember, this is the only place on earth you will see them in the wild. You may see them in the zoo or anything, but not in the wild. This is the only place you can do that. So people really enjoy being able to come interact with the ladies that make the mochilas, the plush toys, the farmers, with our team, and then be able to donate to support our conservation work. But, adults are not only our target. We really want to be able to get kids and young children engaged in loving and caring for cotton top tamarins. So we have created this amazing traveling puppet show. I'm sure you guys are big fans of puppets. You're big fans of storytelling. So we come around with our puppet show with two characters, the little cotton top that you see on the screen, and then Carolina, which is a girl that wanted to have a cotton top as a pet. And then Cotton Top explains, like, hey, no, these are the reasons why I need to stay in the forest with my family and plant trees every day and keep the forest healthy so that you guys have clean air and water. And then, we go around spreading this message and making it really fun for the kids to understand that cotton tops are not to be kept in our homes. We print t-shirts, we have posters, stickers, a song that they dance to that talks about not keeping cotton tops as pets, and lots of fun stuff like Instagram frames that you can put on your social media. But it's with a way to connect with a species that is only Colombian, feel proud because it is the only place on earth where you will see it, and then have fun stuff to do like coloring a book or putting a mask and playing with your friends, and then be able to share the message with your family. We also work with the older kids in secondary school, and they do have a program called Forest Savers. So they're like guardians of the forest. They get to go to the forest and see the monkeys, and then they get to learn ways that they can share with their families, either puppet shows or posters or stickers. And that way they can tell their families, and they can all make a commitment of not hunting, keeping, harassing, or selling cotton tops as pets. That's a great way to help conservation. We gather every year on a celebration that is called the Day of the Cotton Top Tamarin. And we bring all communities together, and we do contests, we do dances, we do cultural presentations, music, food, amazing food, and then the queen of the cotton top, and then the recycled dress cotton top. So it's a fun way to engage communities so that we all together work to protect this jewel, and then generate benefits for people so that they can have an income, but not necessarily damage the forest or the monkeys. And I want to acknowledge our team. These are the 40-some people in Colombia that work every day for protecting cotton tops. We do like blue, so that's our t-shirt, our favorite color. And we put our passion and our love every day in studying the animals in the field, in the forest, planting trees and protecting the forest, working with the farmers to create more forest, working with the artisans, hosting people that come and visit, educating the communities and educating kids, and just loving our work. I thank you so much for listening to my presentation. There's a lot more to say, but I didn't want to make it that long so that I can take your questions and answer them. And hopefully, you will check out our social media and our website to learn more about cotton tops, become a fan, and hopefully a supporter of our work in the long term.
Amazing. Well, I'm certainly a big fan. I'm sure our students are too. If you want to come out of screen share, you can see us again, have a bit of a conversation. We've already got a bevy of questions. One, in that last picture, you showed your team. So one of the questions was, how big is your team? How many people are at Proyecto Tití?
All right. So we have 46 people working for us now. And you know what's amazing is that 60% of them, like 30 of our 46 people, are hired from the local communities. So we are giving people jobs so that they come and work with us, planting trees, teaching kids, and doing all what we do as a way to help them also engage to conservation. And of course, they commit forever and ever to not cut trees, to do sustainable farming, and to not ever have a cotton top tamarin or any other wild animal as pets. And we do work in 3 different communities or 3 different areas in northern Colombia that cover almost half of all the areas in Colombia where cotton tops are found. So, and that is thanks to many generous donors around the world that are providing us with funds so that we can do our work and save these amazing species from extinction.
Spectacular. So many conservation organizations are looking for community-led conservation, and I always use you as my example of how that can be done just beautifully well. So take note, if you're watching from other conservation organizations around the world, I hope you're as inspired as our kids are. You talked about how hard it is to find the monkeys. So they've got the tracker, you're going out in the woods. How long does it usually take is one of our queries.
To find the monkeys, probably it takes whatever it takes walking from one place to another. Remember, I mentioned that they basically settle in an area. Well, that area is about 50 acres for one family, and the families are usually 5 to 7 individuals. Yeah. So they settle and they basically establish their own invisible, limits. Yep. But if another cotton top from another group gets close to that area, oh boy, you will hear it.
Showdown.
They will make alarm calls and make sure that their home is protected. But so it usually takes us about 40 minutes to walk from one group to another. And we usually spend 4 or 5 hours in the forest every day. And then we visit different groups every day. So it's more the time that it takes to go from one place to another, because the antenna is pretty effective. Once you start pointing to the different direction and you hear the beep, and the beep gets harder and harder and louder and louder, you know, you're getting close. And then you see them there, up there in the trees.
Voila. Sounds like a pretty cool day job, I've got to say. Of all the things to do, going through the forest to find amazing animals.
It's hot, it's humid. Sometimes there's mosquitoes, but it's the coolest job in the world, for sure.
So, actually, I'm so glad you mentioned mosquitoes and hot and humid. One of the questions was, are there any dangers you need to look out for while you're walking in the forest? Is there anything that you're on the lookout for, or no?
Many, yes. As we have beautiful, charismatic species that we love, there's others that we don't love that much. I don't love that much, like snakes. And some of those snakes are venomous. So yes, we need to look out for rattlesnake, for, I don't know the names in English, but other venomous snakes that are in this forest. We need to really watch out for, but we use protective gear. We use sometimes high rubber boots on the rainy season, or sometimes we put like snake guards in our legs so that we are safe. And we do have somebody in our staff that is always watching for our safety and is always training our team so that they walk safely in the forest. The other risk we have, which it's happened to me a few times, is that you can slip and fall and hurt yourself. I think I've broken probably one wrist and one knee and an ankle over time, but it hasn't been bad. I mean, it's yeah. Oh my goodness.
Hey, I'm with you. I feel your pain. Oh no.
So yeah, there are risks. I mean, sometimes, you know, you can also have like bee bites,
Yep.
or bee stings.
Yep.
And you really need to watch it if you're allergic, because we need to have like a first aid. We usually have a first aid kit in order to kind of shoot somebody if there's any risk. So it's basically all biological. You know, you are invading this beautiful area, so you are the one that need to take care of yourself and make sure you're safe. But we do have staff that helps us with that.
Every field team that we talk with in the world, no matter where they are, has a little bit of prep. It's trained people. They have first aid. They do things like that. They make sure that they're in a situation where they're unlikely to get injured. And if they are, there's a plan to get people out. So
safety is very important for field work, and we take serious.
Yeah. Well, speaking of safety, we've got a great follow-up from a kid, and I love that students continually think about things like this. You talked about putting little backpacks on them. Does that stress them out? Does it injure them? What is the monkey's perspective on being trapped?
Okay. So we've done this for over 30 years already, and this has been proven as a safe way to put the transmitters on. So what we do is that cotton tops, something I missed sharing with you, this forest in North Colombia has 6 months without rain and 6 months with a lot of rain. That is why it's called a tropical dry forest. So when it's dry, like it happens in the winters in the US or in Canada, a lot of the trees lose their leaves to save water. And in that time of the year, monkeys are very hungry. There's not too much fruit to eat in the forest. So we take advantage of that natural cycle to set up a platform where we put bananas for the monkeys to come in and eat, and they get comfortable coming in and out of the traps for about 2 months. And then when we're ready, we use that as a way to get them into the traps and quickly put them down. Bring the trap down, be able to measure them, weigh them, do medical checkups to make sure they're healthy, to learn about their health, their size, their physical, and then we take advantage and put the transmitter on. We do this once a year, and the only one that carries a transmitter is the father, but or the dominant male of the family group. But we, kind of do a checkup on all the monkeys to make sure they're healthy so that we can learn and make sure we monitor their health and their welfare. To date, after 30 years, it's never been any risk of the animals. We haven't seen any changes in their behavior. A few of them get smart and never come up to the traps, but it's okay. We know them, we have studied them for a while. And again, it's usually, those traps have 10 compartments. Our hope is to get the animals in and do this in a couple of hours and release them right away to reduce the stress. And then, again, we have studied the monkeys for over 30 years. We haven't seen any impact that's created. And in turn, it's helping us a lot to collect information, learn about the animals. And that's how you do science, right? Good science, just making sure the animals are well, but you also get to learn and use all of that information to protect the species.
I love when we get this question. It's one of my favorite questions. We hear it with literally every kind of field unit in the world. And it's nice that you're thinking about the animal welfare. In fact, the technology's gotten better and better and smaller, so it's even less of an impact now. We were talking the other day about trackers put on a butterfly. Like, we're at that level that we can do that, which is unbelievable. So we're getting better on that front, and that data, that information, the ability to find the troops and study them and understand them has been absolutely crucial to saving species worldwide. So imagine if you had to have a cast on your foot, for instance. It's a little uncomfortable. It's not the best, but if it helps you in the long run, it's a good thing. So,
but you know what? The backpack idea came out of actually the behavior of the animal, because the father carries the babies in the back, like you saw in the forest. In the one of the pictures, and they're used to that. They're used to, and that is very light. It just doesn't. It's like 10 grams, and the animal weight is 500 grams. So it's like if you had, I don't know, a t-shirt on or something very light. We make sure that that's very important, and it allows us to learn and do something with that knowledge.
Exactly. Great. Thank you so much for that, Rosmira. That's wonderful. On the tree planting note, how many trees have you planted? We're always looking for superlatives, our kids. So what's the number?
For the last 5 years, so since the pandemic in 2020 till now, we've planted 120,000 trees of like 120,000 trees of about, I don't know, 70 different native tree species that grow in this forest. And we have restored about 1,000 acres of land over the past 5 years. And then we're getting ready to plant over the next 4 years, 200,000. So we're going to be busy, guys. We're going to be busy growing, picking up seeds, growing trees. And we need to reforest about another 1,000 acres in the next 4 years of a new land that we purchased to turn into forest for the monkeys. And that's a great opportunity, again, to do science, to learn about the trees, how they grow, their survival rates, and also to hire lots of people from the local community, give them jobs and get them engaged and get them to be our best partners to protect the monkeys and their forest. And, all that research, many years sitting down, and actually we used to collect poop from the monkeys to just confirm what fruits they were eating and do a diet for them. And with that, we know which trees we need to plant so that the forest has the trees that cotton tops feed from, the ones that they use for sleeping, the ones that they use for moving around. And that is how science becomes knowledge, and knowledge becomes conservation.
You're so cool. You're the best. I can't believe you have the time to chat with me at all. You need to go out and plant some trees. You've got a lot of work to do.
I will be planting trees. Okay. I'll be very busy. No worries. It's a pleasure to be talking to you today.
Don't want to steal your time from the forest.
No, you're not missing.
Well, time flies and you're having fun anyway. So we are nearing the end of the broadcast. And so one of the questions that I love when we get is there a favorite part of your job? It all sounds so good, but is there anything that particularly gets you up in the morning?
Listen, everything, but just when I do, as a director of the project, I have to do a lot of computer work because I need to raise the money to pay for all the expenses. And but when I get to go to the forest and I get to see cotton tops in the wild, I'm like, if I was stressed, that's like, this is why I'm doing all of this. This is why I'm getting up in the mornings. This is why I'm working so hard, 10, 12-hour days sometimes. This is why all the sacrifice is worth. That's one thing. The other thing is when I go back and see those trees growing. And a little tree that I planted about this size is now like 10 feet tall with a strong trunk and is providing shade and food to cotton tops. Those two things are like, I want to keep doing this for the rest of my life. I want to keep planting trees. I want to keep hiring locals. I want to keep, providing a home for the monkeys and for all our amazing wildlife. And it just gives purpose to my life. It motivates me. It's my motor, actually, to keep it all going. And I'm sharing with you the achievements in our work, but there's a lot of challenges in conservation, lots of challenges. And we have to sort out through those, but as long as we keep optimistic and we keep a good vibe, because what we do is benefiting animals, people, and our planet. So that's enough motivation for me to keep it all going, regardless of the challenges and the hard days that sometimes you have to face. Oh, and one
Wow.
more thing, Jesse, just one thing.
Please, I was going to say, what an answer, though. It's an incredible answer.
I was just saying that this area where we work, it was all cattle fields and agricultural fields in the past, and we've been building all these forests, right? Last year in November, we put camera traps. The camera traps are like devices that you put in the forest so that you can take pictures of animals that are very hard to see. And we spotted a puma, big puma, coming back to our work area. That's a huge accomplishment, because large felines only come to areas that are safe and that are, in good health, so they can find food and shelter. But I was telling you about challenges. How the issue is that people are afraid of the pumas. So now we need to do a lot of awareness, a lot of communication, and a lot of training, so that we all learn how to coexist, which is the whole purpose of everything. So yeah, that was very exciting. I wanted to share that with.
That's very exciting. And hey, we work with two of the best wildlife human coexistence partners in the world in California. So if you ever want, including puma scientists,
yes,
if you want a cool partnership, you just let me know.
I will be reaching out to them for sure, because we're going to need the help.
Amazing. Well, kudos to you for such incredible success, so beyond deserved. For our audience, I really encourage you, check out the website, check out the social media pages. There's so much to discover there, and share this broadcast with your friends. It's on our YouTube channel. We'll be featuring it on social media and more. So always such a pleasure to have you in, Rosamira. Thank you so much.
Same here, Jesse. Great to be here. Thank you, everybody, for listening in today. And well, thank you. And go support conservation wherever you are. It's all.